Leader of the Opposition, honorable members of Parliament, distinguished guests, ladies and gentlemen. Nisambula Binaka, good morning to you all. Honorable Speaker, I rise to respond to His Excellency the President, Ratu Antonio Lalabalavu's address during the opening of the 2026-2027 session of Parliament last month. At the outset, His Excellency the President address reflects the aspirations of our people and the collective responsibility of all arms of government to serve the national interest and work towards the continued well-being of our fellow Fijians. His Excellency also stated that the government's program for 2026 and beyond seeks not only to grow the economy, but to create decent work, protect the vulnerable, and invest in the capabilities of our people. Honorable Speaker, sir, in doing so, the Ministry recognizes that health and well-being of our people remains central to national development, economic resilience, and social cohesion. As we forge on, the Ministry will continue to strengthen our health system through reforms that are people-centered, evidence-based, and fiscally responsible. The Ministry will continue to modernize health governance, strengthen service delivery, and ensure that our health system is resilient to emerging public health risks, to severe impacts of climate change. Honorable Speaker, sir, His Excellency the President also stated that the government will be guided by three principles in the formulation of programs and policies. Unity in diversity, ensuring that every person, regardless of background or place of residence, shares in national progress. Sustainability and resilience, protecting our people, economy and environment for present and future generations, and integrity and good governance, strengthening trust in public institutions and leadership. The Ministry has kept these principles at heart while reviewing legislation, discussing budgetary decisions, undertaking institutional reform, and shaping public policy that will guide national decision-making in the years ahead. Honorable Speaker, sir, a strong and effective health system must be supported by robust and contemporary legislation. The Ministry has continued to progress the review and modernization of health laws to protect the public health, strengthen accountability, and respond to evolving national and global challenges. In the December parliamentary sitting, important health legislation was endorsed, including Burial and Cremations Act and the Quarantine Act. Mental Health Act was gone through public consultation stage, and we are awaiting feedback from the Solicitor General's Office. The Nursing Act is expected to conduct public consultation at the end of this month, and we will progress from there. These laws strengthen public health safeguards, environmental protection, and national health security, while aligning Fiji more closely with international standards and obligations. Further legislative reforms will continue during this parliamentary term to ensure that our health laws remain fit for purpose and responsive to the needs of our people. Honorable Speaker, sir, on Monday, the Honorable Premier Kumar questioned the status of the MSME bill and cooperative bill that was supposed to be brought forward 3 years, but are nowhere to be seen. The Speaker said it's no easy task to review bills and acts as they are archaic, let alone draft new ones and have them go through the same process of public consultations, legal checks, and cabinet endorsements. So the question to be asked is, what were they doing in the last 8 years? Did they even bother to revise these acts, draft new ones for the benefits of the nation and the people? No. Now it has fallen on us to carry out these legislation reviews, and it is not an easy task. So let us do our work, and we will do it accordingly. Honorable Speaker, sir, In November 2024, the Ministry convened its first National Health Executive Committee meeting in Subowo House, bringing together leaders, professional communities, and partners to reflect on the challenge facing our health system and its policies, and to chart a shared path forward. Outcomes of this national dialogue will guide the development of our new health strategic plan, with a strong focus on prevention, primary health care, efficiency, equity, ensuring that reforms are sustainable, deliver meaningful improvements in health outcomes, and advancing universal health coverage. The Ministry has since had its second NEC meeting at Ratu Village in Wainumbuka on 20th February of 2025, and the third at Tau Village in Adonga on the 27th of June 2025. We're expecting a follow-up NEC meeting soon in Kandawu. Like the careful weaving of a mat, strengthening our health system requires bringing together many strengths: sound laws, capable institutions, a dedicated workforce, sustainable financing, and strong partnerships to support the well-being of our people. Honourable Speaker, sir, the rise in HIV/AIDS cases is a matter of serious concern for our nation, as rightly highlighted by His Excellency the President Ratu Lalabalavu in his address. On 22nd January 2025, I formally declared an HIV outbreak that was thought to be an epidemic in intravenous drug user populations. In response, government established the National HIV Outbreak Cluster Response Task Force under the HIV Board and endorsed a costed outbreak response plan. Recognizing the seriousness of the situation and the need for a dedicated operational capability, in June I directed the establishment of a standalone diagonal sexual reproductive health and HIV unit within the Ministry of Health and Medical Services to operationalize the national response through the National Outbreak Cluster Response Task Force and its technical committees and technical working groups. With the support of government and our partners, including DFAT, MFAT, and Essential Medicines support from the Government of India, we have strengthened the foundations of a national program, response across treatment, care, and support, prevention, harm reduction, diagnostics, data for impact, and procurement and supply chain management. These foundations include clearer clinical and service pathways, stronger community programming and communications, harm reduction, implementation planning, improved testing quality and readiness, and more organized procurement and warehouse arrangements, which is currently being developed. However, I must be candid with Parliament. The scale of tangible action on the ground is not yet commensurate with the speed and the spread of the epidemic because our human resources and field mobilization capacity remains critically constrained. To date, 23 positions have been filled out of the 167 required, with a further 30 positions in the early stages of recruitment. This means a small national team is carrying a country-wide workload, limiting how quickly we can expand outreach, follow-up, and decentralize clinical services across all divisions. Honourable members, Honourable Speaker, despite this progress, the latest figures confirm that HIV is worsening and spreading beyond the initial outbreak. In 2025, Fiji recorded 2,003 new diagnoses, up from 1,583 in 2024, with the national rate diagnosis rising to 226 per 100,000 population, up to 13 per 100,000 in 2019, a 17-fold increase. Men remain more affected, but the gap is narrowing, showing that infection is increasingly affecting women and families. This is also reflected in pregnancy surveillance. National antenatal HIV prevalence is now estimated at 3.1%. At CWM, it has risen sharply to 3.7% in 2025, rising from 0.34% in 2023 to 1.82% in 2024. When HIV is rising in antenatal clinics, it tells us this is no longer an outbreak in one population group. It is increasingly present in the wider community, and babies are now at risk. Last year, we estimated that 59 babies were born with HIV, up from 31 cases in 2024. On average, at least one baby died of HIV each month in 2025. In light of this, government action must now match the urgency of the epidemic. And I would like to, therefore, highlight some of the plans we have moving forward to strengthen national approach built on these three principles: speed, scale, and sustained commitment. Firstly, I seek the Parliament support for high-level, multi-sector national HIV, STI, PPV response, working in close collaboration with communities, civil society, and technical partners, and operationalize the National HIV Outbreak and Cluster Response Task Force. The task force model is working because it brings together the right technical expertise and community reach. However, the epidemic is now affecting the wider community and requires stronger whole-of-government mobilization, whole-of-parliament across the social drivers of infection. Secondly, I will request government to enable an emergency response footing for this national effort so that we can remove bottlenecks and accelerate approvals for recruitment, procurement, and infrastructure, and the enabling legal instruments required to expand services quickly and safely. Put simply, we need to move from planning to coordination to visible, sustained delivery on the ground in every division. Third, and most importantly, I'm asking Parliament to support the plan for a minimum 5-year national commitment on this response. I said a minimum of 5-year national commitment. This is not a short campaign. It is a multi-year national recovery effort. They will therefore seek the support and establishment of the Sexual Reproductive Health and HIV Project Management Unit to drive implementation, performance management, and field delivery under the strategic direction of the task force so that plans translate into sustained action year after year. Finally, I wish to emphasize that this must be a national multi-party commitment. HIV does not recognize political lines. The country needs an apolitical, united stance that will hold through this year's election and beyond, so the response remains stable, funded, and accountable over the full 5-year period required to turn the epidemic around. With Parliament support and with the continued leadership of Cabinet, Fiji can still reverse this trajectory, protect mothers and babies, and restore national health security. Honourable Speaker, sir, the Ministry of Health and Medical Services WASH program, in alignment with the Sustainable Development Goal, SDG Target 6, aim to support the WASH sector in achieving a few of these objectives. Target 6.1 by 2030, achieve universal and equitable access to safe and affordable drinking water for all. Target 6.2 by 2030, achieve access to adequate and equitable sanitation and hygiene for all and end open defecation with special attention to the needs of women, girls, and those in vulnerable situations. Target 6.3 by 2030, improve water quality by reducing pollution eliminating dumping, and minimizing the release of hazardous chemicals and materials. In focusing on the three targets, the WASH program within the Ministry of Health is working to scale up water safety, security, and sanitation planning initiative in rural and peri-urban communities. This initiative originates from the WHO with support of partners such as UNICEF, International Water Center, Griffith University, the University of the South Pacific, and the Department of Water and Sewerage. A localized package has been developed and rolled out to communities with urgent WASH improvement needs. Through a series of community-based trainings, this initiative empowers community to effectively assess their water supply systems, sanitation facilities, and hygiene stations. Communities are guided to identify hazards and service gaps to develop a community-based improvement plan to enhance access to safe drinking water, safe sanitation, and good hygiene practice. The Ministry of Medical Services also provides targeted funding to support communities in implementing key improvements identified in their plan, particularly the low-hanging fruits. These are often small-scale investments that can lead to significant and life-changing outcomes. And as a ministry, we believe that by reducing risks through training, improving infrastructure, and strengthening community ownership, we can significantly decrease the burden of recurring communicable diseases such as waterborne illnesses, typhoid fever, dengue fever, and leptospirosis. This approach not only saves lives, but also reduces the long-term costs associated with treatment and healthcare services. The WASH program also prioritizes areas of mass gathering as key points for improvement, including community halls, schools, religious institutions, and healthcare facilities, where access to safe water, sanitation, and hygiene is critical for protecting public health. Honourable Speaker, sir, inclusive development is an approach the Ministry is taking in terms of meeting our strategic objectives, most importantly improving the quality of our healthcare for Fijians. Allow me to mention a few projects that have been undertaken or are in progress. The Australian government, together with the support of the Fiji government, has undertaken complementary works for Taviuni Hospital, complementary works for Kandavu Hospital, building of the new washroom for the disability at Tamuva-Tuimi Hospital. The New Zealand government, through partnership with the Fiji government, has undertaken rebuilding of Ndongo Nursing Station, refurbishment of Korvo Health Centre, refurbishment of Rewa Health Centre, new pharmacy and maternal child health clinic, new SOPD and pharmacy for Wainbokaisi Hospital, refurbishment of outpatient at Nosori Health Centre, with the support of Fiji government, extension of waiting area at Makui Health Centre, and the refurbishment of the Ngaloa Nursing Station in Seoul. The Japan International Cooperation Agency completed warehouse Tolu in Lambasa, and also the ESDP project for the procurement of medical equipment and ambulance for the ministry. JICA also assisted in the ministry in the completion of the non-communicable disease project. We are sincerely grateful to other organizations such as USAID, OICA, LDS, and other NGOs for supporting us. Through this partnership, the ministry is enhancing health system governance, financing, and performance, while drawing a global best practice adapted to our national context. Honourable Speaker, sir, a resilient health system depends on a capable, motivated, and compassionate supported workforce. The Ministry will continue to address health workforce challenges through improved planning, training, retention, and efficient deployment of human resources, recognizing the central role of health workers in delivery service and system resilience. In this regard, the Ministry has reintroduced the Deputy Secretary positions for Public Health and Hospital Services. This position historically played a vital role in coordinating the supervising hospital and public health services across the divisions. Honourable Speakers, at this juncture I wish to mention and extend my sincere gratitude and appreciation to all our healthcare workers, especially those who serve in the rural and maritime areas, for the incredible work that they do. One in particular is Staff Nurse Milika Ralota, who has been courageously serving the people of Metasiri for 13 years now. I had the privilege of meeting her 2 weeks ago when I travelled up to Nakorosuli. Staff Nurse Ralota has been trekking on foot through the terrains of Nakorosuli to Noisomo and other villages that fall under the Hunindawa medical area. If lucky, she gets to go on horseback. Honourable Speaker, sir, her commitment, compassion and dedication have enabled her to achieve 100% coverage for expanded program on immunization. This is the face of public health, and it is a feat hard to achieve. Honourable Speaker, sir, this is just too good. There are many more dedicated health workers like Staff Nurse Milika Ralota in the ministry who have not had their stories told, but I may not have visited the health facilities. But it is because of them that I stand humbly yet proudly today as the Minister of Health and Medical Services, and I will endeavour to carry out my duty to the best of my ability in serving the people of this nation, Fiji. Llalabalavu, thank you.